On Sunday, hundreds gathered outside the Lincoln Memorial for a Stand With Ukraine rally, calling on President Biden to commit the United States into taking a larger role in supporting Ukrainians in their fight against Russia. The organizers listed 4 key demands of President Biden. I quote, "Close the sky over Ukraine and provide Ukraine with effective air defense systems, end all business ties with Russia and cut all Russian banks from SWIFT, direct humanitarian aid more quickly to Ukraine, streamline the process for Ukrainian refugees in the United States." While America has at least partially fulfilled 3 out of 4 of those main demands, Biden and NATO have been clear in rejecting the premise of the most consequential ask, a no-fly zone. Declaring a no-fly zone would essentially be a promise that the United States would shoot down Russian aircraft over Ukraine, bringing America and Russia, the world's 2 biggest military forces, into a direct confrontation.
Our rally at the Lincoln Memorial, commemorating a U.S. president who safeguarded the freedom of this nation, many freedoms of this nation that we all enjoy. That's a call on the United States to defend Ukraine's freedom and democracy. And we urge our government to close the sky for Ukraine, provide Ukraine with effective air defense systems, end all business, cut all ties with Russia, cut all Russian banks for SWIFT, make their economy suffer, make the oligarchs know that there are consequences of this war that are going to be unbearable for Russia. They will have to pay the price, because Ukraine is paying a very high price at the moment.
NATO's Secretary General said a no-fly zone over Ukraine could end in full-fledged war in Europe, and Putin also declared that a no-fly zone would make its enforcers participants of the military conflict.
Ukrainian children also have a message for President Biden. If you don't close the sky, many of them will die. Let's listen to this lullaby and think of those Ukrainian children who are underground, not seeing the sky, and those over 100, and the toll is rising, over 100 children who have perished during this war.
Activists on Sunday invoked images of Ukrainian children to demand the no-fly zone in the style of a lullaby.
If you don't glow the sky, I will die. If you don't glow the sky, Mom will cry. If you don't glow the sky, he'll lose home. If you don't glow the sky, they'll be doomed. If you don't glow the sky will still fight. If you don't glow the sky, we'll fill the night. If you don't glow the sky, he might win. Now look in his eyes and sink again.
Following the lullaby, Bill Kristol, former Chief of Staff to Vice President Dan Quayle and early advocate for America's invasion of Iraq, spoke out, invoking World War II.
Here in front of the Lincoln Memorial, one really thinks about, we fought for freedom here and suffered terrible losses in the Civil War, and of course, a little bit late, but came to the help of Europe in the 20th century. And once again, I really do hope we can quarrel about some of the details, but I think we are coming to the help of those fighting for Europe in the 21st century. 2022, this year, 2022, could really be a turning point, I think, in the history, of course, of Ukraine and Russia, but also in the history of Europe, but also for the world. I was in the White House in 1989 when the Berlin Wall fell, in 1991 when Ukraine achieved, once again, independence. I've always been proud to have been a very minor, tiny player in the White House at that historic moment. But we should all be proud, I think, to be doing our part to help here 30 years later at what could be a really key moment of reversing the advances of the authoritarians and the dictators, which have happened to some over the last 10, 15 years, of reversing the pessimism about freedom and democracy. And for that, I hope we in America can contribute But the people who deserve the most credit if this becomes a turning point are the people of Ukraine. And so I want to say we stand with you and we honor your sacrifice, and it's a great, it's to your credit, but really it's an honor simply to thank you for what you were doing over there and to thank all of you for the support you're expressing here. Thank you.
Striking a similar note, Ukraine's ambassador to the United States, Oksana Markarova, warned that a Russian victory would threaten the rest of the world, not just Ukraine.
Should we lose this war, should tyranny, oligarchy, and brutality prevail, the world will be overcome by continued aggression and insecurity for decades to come. It's of course about Ukraine for us, but it's about much more than Ukraine. This is why Ukraine should not, actually must not, be alone in this fight. This is why we have to act together, and we have to act faster and stronger. It took the world too long to comprehend that Putin was a criminal and that Putin was a murderer. This war has shaken off the last facade of the decency and has shown the grim reality of what Russian Federation is today, and has shown that Putin is war criminal, Putin is mass murderer, and Putin is a butcher. My President Zelensky, stated recently that truth is our weapon. Our brave armed forces are dedicated and will defend every inch of our territory. But we need all the support we can get, with weapons, with help, with financial assistance, with humanitarian assistance, because only helped and supported by defensive and offensive military assistance we can receive from all of our friends and allies and from the United States. This truth will enable us to win. Ukraine will win this war. I just want to repeat it again. Together we will win this war.
Democratic strategist and spokesman for United Help Ukraine Adam Parkhomenko also spoke out, urging further action and decrying Putin as evil.
Putin needs a trophy to halt his current war in Ukraine. He needs to show Russians on May 9th, Victory Day, a holiday marking the end of the Great Patriotic War, World War II, that he is a victor and controls Donbass, the easternmost region of Ukraine. This is unacceptable. It will give Putin a foothold in Ukraine for further aggression and war, as his recent 8-year hybrid war in Donbass has shown the world. We should never forget Putin is profoundly cynical, and he does not believe in the power of the human spirit to unite people to do good. Putin believes everyone can be bought. There are only two principles that guide Putin. Weakness invites aggression, and compromise is a sign of weakness. Putin must be defeated and driven from mainland Ukraine now. We cannot show weakness now. We cannot compromise with evil. Putin is war and crisis. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to its heroes. Thank you.
Another video included a soldier calling out Ukraine's allies for insufficiently contributing heavy arms.
Лидер Америки и Франция, вы обещали нам системы ПВО. Вы дали нам совсем не то, что нужно. Посмотрите туда, внимательно. Это разрушенный город. Это лишь часть города, которая разрушена самолетами противника, самолетами России. Вы же говорили, что будет помощь. Дайте нам эту помощь. Байден, Макрон, вы великие лидеры. Будьте ими до конца. Спасайте гражданских людей. Гибнут дети, гибнут старики. Уничтожается город. Он стирается с лица земли. Или вы хотите еще один Алеппо? Вы его практически получили. Дайте Украине ПВО, пожалуйста.
We know that Russia won't stop with Ukraine. A few days ago, President Volodymyr Zelensky addressed the global community, asking the world to stop the world. We would like to show you the video of President Zelensky now.
The rally itself was a result of a call from Ukrainian President Zelensky for civilians internationally to rally for their nations to assist Ukraine.
Russia started the war against freedom as it is. This is only the beginning for Russia on the Ukrainian land. Russia is trying to defeat the freedom of all people in Europe, of all the people in the world. It tries to show that only crude and cruel force matters. It tries to show that people do not matter, as well as everything else that make us people. That's the reason we all must stop Russia. The world must stop the war. I thank everyone who acts in support of Ukraine, in support of freedom, but the war continues. The acts of terror against peaceful people go on. 1 month already. That long. It breaks my hearts of all Ukrainians and every free person on the planet. That's why I ask you to stand against the war, starting from March 24th, exactly 1 month after the Russian invasion. From this day and after then. Show your standing. Come from your offices, your homes, your schools and universities. Come in the name of peace. Come with Ukrainian symbols to support Ukraine, to support freedom, to support life. Come to your squares, your streets. Make yourselves visible and heard. Say that people matter, freedom matters, peace matters, Ukraine matters. From March 24th, in downtowns of your cities. All as one together who want to stop the war.
While Biden and NATO remain firm in their commitment not to institute a no-fly zone, voices of the American center-left and center-right continue to pressure greater American support for Ukraine. Ford Fisher, News to Share, for Activism Uncensored, a collaboration with TK News.